Hello my loves, I'm Ellie Frost. Thank you so much for being on my channel. So we're talking about rapidly and radically healing and transforming during and after narcissistic abuse. And I have a multidimensional approach, which is meaning that we transform by healing spiritually, physically, emotionally, and energetically, right? To come into our sovereignty and authentic power and truth and build our most fulfilling life. No matter how hard it's been, no matter how sick you are, no matter what you've been through. And I made a video yesterday, which is quite, I'm touching on a few things where sometimes I'd like to go deeper on things so you understand what I'm really getting at. But this video is about why the narcissist targets you. I had a difficult childhood, no doubt about it. I also had healed from that childhood. By the time I got into the last cycles of narcissistic abuse, I'd built a very successful career. I had good relationships. I wasn't suffering with any self-esteem issues. I was in the best shape of my life. I'd moved countries alone with my dogs. I mean, you need a lot of courage to do things like this, right? I wasn't escaping, I was building. And the childhood wounds I had about not being lovable and not being in my own authentic truth and power didn't exist. I had my own businesses at this point by 10 years. Not just a business, I don't mean it like that. What I mean is a business where I was fully myself in. I've always done stuff that I'm aligned with. So that takes confidence, I had healed the programming from my childhood. There's no doubt in my mind. And that's why when I made that video, see, it's so easy to say, oh yeah, they had a difficult childhood, that makes sense with the narcissist. That is a lazy therapy because I wasn't that. I wasn't that. I was ignorant to narcissism and I went under massive attack and targeting when I moved states. My lie irritated people, that's part of it, the spiritual part. I didn't know how to shut them out and not let them infiltrate my life. I didn't know what I was dealing with. But there's no doubt to me at that, when I met two of the biggest, well, more than that, but I got under the biggest demonic attack I could ever imagine. I didn't see it coming. I didn't recognize it for what it was. I knew I'd had an abusive childhood. I knew I'd healed from that. I wasn't codependent in any way. We're all working on certain parts of our journey constantly, but there's no way I would fit into any of that. There was something I didn't know, and I was being shown that, and again, I'm a spiritual person. On my path, I'm going to get the lessons I need to learn because God was showing me the absolute truth on this. By going through what I went through out here, which was awful, I put together the missing links of my childhood. So I did make a video yesterday about that childhood abuse, but there's no way I was that person still suffering from those wounds. I wasn't. So why was I so heavily targeted by narcissists? One, I'm a super empath. I didn't know how to protect that energetically. People know that there's a lot of compassion and empathy in me. I'm a natural healer. They target those types of people. I wasn't making excuses and blind to people in the way I was when I was a child. I hadn't repeated those things in my relationships. I understood I had to heal it very young, and I did. And I understood I had to be independent young, and I was. But I still had a belief that I could heal anything and anyone. I still had such a love for humanity, which I still do. I just didn't realize I was pouring it on something that wasn't humanity, or wasn't humane. And I made, I suppose, allowances. Those people were more familiar to me because I'd grown up around them, so I probably did make excuses for them and have some, I suppose, more tolerance. But then again, that's not exactly true because I know for a fact the big narcissists I met out here, some of them running huge companies that people love, like my father. People loved my father because his treatment of them was opposite to his treatment of me. To me, he was a bully, sometimes a physical abuser, an antagonist, someone who stole my ideas and exploited me in every way. Not just my ideas, my life. Had me under his control and was constantly devaluing me, making me feel worthless and obliged to be what he needed me to be. But to everybody that we knew as a family, he was a different person. I never would have said this. I mean, never in my life. That's why it's hard to believe you're not crazy. So the people I met out here, again, they gave me the treatment that they give everyone else when I first met them, which is wonderful. So, I mean, I've met people out here, you know, since moving. I mean, they were the people that people loved, the people that people think are the most upstanding people in their communities. But behind closed doors, they are not. Like my ex-partner, who, you know, I mean, the image that he portrayed to me, I had no idea how vile and spiteful and malicious he was. None, you know? So you're dealing with master manipulators. They're going to exploit not your empathy. If you've got childhood wounds outstanding, which every single person has, whether they've been abused or not, those are the things they're going to exploit, but they're not the reasons that you're a target. Your heart is, what you can give them is. I can help people in such a big way. They know it. I've helped people build companies. I've helped people get rich. I've helped people do things in life. I've got the kind of energy where people go into potential and transform, right? People know it. They target you for what you bring. Sometimes it's money. Sometimes it's sex. Sometimes it's your unique gifts, especially if you've got gifts, if you're a light worker. They wanted my light. So the demons attack the light. They wanted to take it from me, and they don't like the light. It irritates their demons, and that sometimes they just do it to taunt you. There was more to it than childhood abuse, is what I'm saying. There was more to it than this textbook approach in psychology that 1 and 1 equals 2, when it really does not, because I was not the example of that. I was also highly conscious. I was also very self-aware, very aware of what I knew so far about this journey. What I didn't know was some very important missing links. One was the spiritual context, that what is really going on a soul level, that they are soul detached. So the level of manipulation can be very, very intense. They're psychic, they're working in the psychic field, so they are presenting to you what they need them to be. And the love bombing stage can go on for a long time. It can go on for a long time. So there was, and I couldn't read. That's the other thing. As a psychic, I couldn't read. I couldn't connect because they're soul detached. I couldn't read. With other people, I get a lot of information. I get a feeling. I thought I wasn't able to use my gifts. My gifts didn't always work. I couldn't understand why I couldn't tune into them. So I was relying on my intellect, which they were brainwashing. Now, if I can't read someone, it's a dead soul. The soul's detached. That's why I can't read. There's nothing wrong with me. That's the other thing I keep teaching you. Most of the time, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing like, even like with the childhood stuff, I still knew inside how I was being treated was wrong. I just didn't know whether it was right for me to let go of my family. I was conflicted on that for a number of reasons, which I spoke about. But there was nothing wrong with me. I didn't repeat that behaviour. I didn't take it out on other people. So like, there's an inherent part of us that isn't anything like them, no matter whether you've been around them your whole life or not. You still know it's off. Yeah, your rage is right. Your anger is your soul screaming. Your knowing that your sadness about how this is happening, that's all correct. There is so much more right with us if we would just trust ourselves. But the intellectualization and I make things simple, but I work with the truth. And the truth is not, this is all because you're so wounded from childhood that now you're a match for narcissists. It's not like that at all. I know many people in relationships that are so codependent that, you know, I was not that, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. They don't get to be abused because of that. They get a lot of issues to work on if they choose to. Many people are very codependent and attached, and it's kind of sweet in some ways, right? I was not that, nor was I so defensive. I wasn't going to let people in. So it's not true how a lot of the intellectualized therapy is dealing with it. This is multidimensional. There's a spiritual aspect. There are things they want to extract from you that might be the obvious things in the material world, but sometimes they're spiritual things they're trying to extract from you too. Yeah, you're using that, your light, your energy. We undervalue our energy. I tell you, on this planet, you've got 3 main resources: money, time, and energy. All is important. They're all currency. Where you put your energy is like money in the bank. It will lead to money in the bank. You know, just your energy. We can't underestimate this. Bringing your energy to someone. If you hold someone in an energy, they can start thriving. I've helped people create empires from that, being able to hold them in their vision, in that energy. My energy made them money. My way of seeing things, the ideas I help them with. But not just the ideas, it changes things with people. We underestimate our energy. Your love poured on someone can change their life and your own. Your energy, your time. Why are we throwing it away on monsters? Why? Your energy's currency. Think of your energy like you were managing, like you were literally running up a tab. Would you just throw your money at these narcissists? Why are you putting your time and energy there? Same thing, currency. Understand it. You play computer games. A lot of people play computer games and they get I don't really play games, but in the corner there's they've got certain coins and certain food and stuff. It's the same with time, money and energy. Where you put those things matters. It also tells the universe what you're invested in. If I put my time, I started doing this radically when I needed to heal. Where does my time go? Where does my money go? No matter how little it was at the time, where does my energy go? I started putting it on me and my growth. And my world changed dramatically. I didn't invest it, ching ching, in the evil. I didn't invest it, ching ching, in the nasty. Can't try and heal the unhealable anymore. I didn't use my limited currency when I was depleted from narcissistic abuse anymore on fueling them. I knew I only had a limited amount of gas to put in the tank, and gas in the tank is time, energy and money in our universe. Use it differently, right? It matters. So it is not just your childhood wounds. This idea, the first thing they should be teaching in therapy is what is wrong with narcissists and how to spot them. If we had known that, we would not be in this mess. And everything else, as soon as you choose yourself, your life, your vision, your dreams, your healing, it takes care of itself. When I teach you, the things I teach you in Sovereign, the side effect is self-esteem. The side effect is self-love. Because when you don't cross yourself, when you're true to yourself, you already love yourself. When you act in alignment with you every day and don't betray yourself. When you're in narcissistic abuse environments, you have to betray yourself every day to exist. That just erodes your self-esteem. Right? If you want to get in Sovereign, contact me for May. But this is the thing. There was things I didn't know and I got shown. I'm a dog with a bone on things anyway. You know what I mean? If I find out about something, I want to know everything I can, if it's part of my purpose. I don't let go. And so I guess that's also part of why my path was to go into these other cycles, because I wanted to understand it. There was missing links. There were questions I had about my childhood, or there were questions I had about things that are now so crystal clear. And when you're crystal clear and you've got clarity, life's easy to go forward from, because you're not wondering anymore. You've got no doubt about who you are, what happened to you, and actually why, right? And what you can do about it, because it's very disempowering. Disempowering is, I don't understand what happened, I don't understand why, and I don't understand really what I can do about it. I don't even trust myself to be able to build from here. Those things I'm going to make crystal clear to you, because from there you can go and create anything in your life. So do understand, when I'm sharing about my childhood, that was a difficult one for me, because it's a difficult one because it's going to get misunderstood by some people. I'm not saying that anyone here commented on that, it's just that I honestly was beyond that. But it did, I'm not going to lie and say didn't it happen, it did, I can go into more of it. There were pieces of it I couldn't understand. When I got duped out here, I got the version of my dad that he would have given everyone else. I got the version of the narcissist that they want everyone to see, until I was the thing they were targeting and draining from. And the light irritates demons. I had to understand that when you're a light worker, when you've got a lot of light energy in you, you attract everything, the good and the bad. I kept thinking, why am I an energetic match to this? The light's an energetic match to everything, because everything moves towards the light. So the more light you are, the more discerning you've got to be, and energetically strong. They can't come at me now. And if they do, karma's going to hit them hard, because I'm very aligned now. When you're aligned in your spiritual protection and you're working with your true purpose, with the divine, right, then your spiritual protection is at its highest. Because it's like with the vampire movies, nothing can touch you that you don't let in, but we didn't know what not to let in. The devil does not come with a tiny little bow on its head and its definition. It comes in disguise. It comes with a web of lies. It comes with things that back up their stories. I said yesterday about my ex-partner, and like, I mean, I'll only know a fraction of how deep and bizarre that story was. It crossed every boundary in my life. I did not want to be with a married man. That would never have happened if he'd have been honest, but then I was. And I was also at a time when I was also being manipulated to such a high level. And not only that, when I have the conversation about it to his wife, she already knows. She's actually part of the enabling. It's irresponsible because you're taking younger women, you know, and exploiting their vulnerabilities, and you guys like it. And it's okay with you. What the hell is happening? The schemes, the layers, there's more to it than I even know. When I broke up with him, he got with someone else straight away. They're always paving the next one. There's a layer upon layer upon layer. There is dark and devastation and betrayals and things they're doing behind the scenes we'll never know about. And I'm asking you not to dig too deep, because I really don't want to know. When they come back to you with wanting to confess answers, your best job is to break away, because the depth of their distortion would disturb you even more. I would get rid of these people as fast as you can. If they are your family, I did make that video for you, but really you've got to limit your exposure. And don't dig too hard. Trying to understand evil is going to disturb your soul. Yeah? That's all it's going to do. Because you're never going to get a clear, you're never going to be able to align or understand how bad evil can be. So let's not. Let's see it for what it is and get it out of our lives and forward with our lives so that it becomes less powerful on the planet. Evil can only be as powerful as we give it. Fear can only be as powerful as we give it. If we use our life force for good, if we stay in our love energy and in our hearts, then they thrive on power over us. The narcissist needs you more than you need it or him or her or it really. They need you more than you need them. You are self-sourcing. That's what I teach you in Sovereign. You are source to self. You can actually self-source. They can't. They need to parasite off you. So actually, it's very easy when you see it in a clean energy to understand the dynamics cannot work without you. Although you feel disempowered, they need to feed off you. You do not need to feed off them. You can be a complete sovereign source to self. Self-focused, self-partnered, self-sourcing, creating with the divine. But they can't. And their whole energy system depletes when they can't feed off you. And then they're forced into an awakening, which is none of your business, because honestly, you don't even know the person you think you know when you're with them. They don't exist. They're just an illusion for what they need to be to get what they need out of other people, which sometimes on the outside will be approval, validation to help them with their web of lies, and sometimes will be to extract from you every resource you have. Either way, it's a poisonous snake. It is going to bite you. If you really want to keep putting yourself in the ring with it, then you might get better at recovering every time, but that's what you're dealing with. Why put yourself there any more than you really need to? If you find yourself in the tank with the poisonous snake, then take precautions. But your excuses around why they're in your life often are things that you're not willing to step into your own power about. So look at your guilt, look at your obligations, look at your fear of, because that's where that's coming from. It's not coming from authentic truth, because you can't be authentic with a narcissist, right? Lots of love, guys. I'll speak to you soon.